Ever heard of plogging? It's a Swedish-born movement combining exercise with environmental care. In this episode, I sit down with Peo, a Swiss-based ambassador for plogging, who was born in Sweden originally. His journey, though, it started in an unexpected way, with a life-changing health scare. His inspiring mission to clean up his surrounding has led to some quite unbelievable findings. Trust me, you don't want to miss a story about the rainbow-colored. You'll just have to listen. So, tune in now, sit back, and enjoy this episode of Worth to be Seen. Welcome to Worth to be Seen podcast, Peo. We will be talking about an interesting activity that you are engaged in. It's called plogging. But before we begin, I would like for you to please tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you are, and a little bit what you do and why and such.
Yes, to start with, I'm from the northern part of Sweden, which is actually the middle part, a town called Östersund. And I moved to the southern part in 98, if I'm not mistaken, to do a training to become an air traffic controller. And I started working as an air traffic controller in Malmö. I spent 2 years of education and 3 years of working down in Malmö at Sturup. Before some friends, good colleagues, applied for Switzerland, Zurich, and a year after I applied as well and got accepted. And that was in 2003. And the idea was to stay only for 4 years, because if you would leave Switzerland before 4 years, you would have to pay money back.
Oh.
But I'm still here.
All right. Well, that's great then. It sometimes things work in mysterious ways.
They do, indeed.
They do, yes. And you do this kind of interesting thing, which I've never heard of before, actually myself, until just recently, and it's called plogging. And just tell me very shortly what it is and what inspired you to start with this.
The thing that inspired me was that in 2015, the end of 2015, I was on my way back to Zurich, and in the train I had the full-scale epileptic attack.
Oh.
And at the hospital they realized after a brain scan that there was a tumor in my head that provoked the epileptic attack, and that was a cancerogen tumor that they later in beginning of 2016 took away. And after that I have had no relapse. But as an air traffic controller, if you have an epileptic attack, you have to have 10 years without medication before applying again as an air traffic controller. And that was not to happen.
No, okay. So you got a lot of time left over then to put your mind to other things then.
I did. I was ashamed first not to be able to work. I got health insurance and I got an insurance instated by controllers that would apply exactly in those cases like mine. So for the following 6 years, I got the monthly payment of my last salary. And that was actually after I applied in French then, that I didn't know much at all, as an air traffic controller assistant to support them with technical information and information about weather and other adjacent zones like Italy, France, Germany, Austria.
Okay, all right. So you stayed active either way. You've seen to it that you keep active, and for some reason you got into this plogging. How did it become introduced to you, or what gave you that initial idea? I've understood that you exercise a lot and those kind of things, but this is like a combination. So please just shortly explain what it is.
The concept I got introduced actually by my sister. What I did was to take a walk in town, and I looked around, or was more observant than some others, and it annoyed me that that they didn't recycle, that there was no payment system for conserves or buckets or plastic PET bottles that you could bring back to the shops. So what I did was taking walks, gathering garbage, and posted it on social media. Well, the thing that happened was that my sister observed this, and she had heard of this plogging movement, or plogga actually, which is a word game of picking up in Swedish, plocka upp, and jogging at the same time. That doesn't mean that it was mandatory to go jogging while plogging. So you can walk, you can go by bicycle, you can swim, it doesn't matter. And what I did was to walk around and pick up garbage, and took pictures and afterwards of the quantity that I had gathered, and presented that on Facebook and Instagram. And I got the support from those friends that I have accepted on Instagram and Facebook. My sister then proposed to the plogging movement, plocka. Erik Ahlström is his name. And I got invited to an interview and named an ambassador for the movement. They represent in Switzerland. Otherwise, they are mostly in Sweden. And Erik himself, he's doing a great job traveling all around the world, presenting the idea of plogging. He's been to many countries. I can't count them all, but it is impressive.
Yes, and I did some research actually, and I got to find out that it was founded, the movement was founded in 2016 here in Sweden actually, and I was surprised I hadn't heard of it until now, but I'm happy I did. I might get into it myself. I'm really interested and intrigued by the concept. So. Do you have any specific memories or something some experience that you have had during your plogging that you would like to share?
There are funny things every time, although it's mainly the same garbage all the time. So every now and then you find odd things. So the two things that I remember the best. That is one time in Sweden, in Östersund, at the train station. I saw 2 or 3 boys kicking something on the ground. And I got a bit curious when they left it behind. I thought it would be garbage that I could throw away or pick it up and put it in a proper place. When I got there, I realized it was about a 20 centimeter dildo in the colors of the rainbow.
All right. Wow. Yeah, that would be not expected, I guess.
No, not really. So I didn't throw it away. I actually took it with me, and where I grew up in Östersund, close to where I grew up, is a road called Snorre.
Okay.
Snorres väg. The road of Snorre. And Snorre is actually a slang word for penis. So what I did, just because I found it funny, I taped it, put it on below the entrance sign to that road, where it hung for a few months. But then suddenly it was gone. It had disappeared.
Wow. Well, yeah, that would be that's a funny story. Yes, and me as a Swede, I can understand the resemblance with the name of the road, Snorre. Yes, so
Yeah.
that was funny.
And the other object that I found then, that was in Switzerland, here where I live, in Yverdon-les-Bains is the name in French. It's in the western French-speaking part of the country. So I went plogging in an area that I know well of being polluted. And one of those days I found a small, nice leather bag with a zipper. And I thought, oh, this could be something valuable because it was quite heavy as well. So I opened the bag in leather with the zipper and pulled out a portable vagina.
All right. That would have gone good with the item you found in Sweden.
It would have worked together, yes.
Yes. Oh, wow. Those, I mean, thinking of that people will be throwing these things away just like that, you know, to be found on the street, that it kind of, yeah, it's a bit mind-blowing. Wow.
It is indeed.
Maybe those two items will get it together someday.
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? Wow. So, from coming from Sweden, the movement, and now you said you were the ambassador for Switzerland.
Yes.
Yeah, and has it gained any interest there, or has the movement evolved any since you began with it?
Not really. I have made the acquaintance, or I've got to know another group in a neighboring town, which activates 2 times per year to pick up. They announce their activity or planned activity in the local newspaper 2 times per year, and they gather a few persons, not too many, but they are enthusiastic, those who arrive. They meet at a garbage station, recycling station, and where they will get something to drink, something to eat afterwards. They get the idea presented, 2 hours of leaving this garbage station in the area close to the lake, to walk around, gather the amount of garbage they find and bring it back, present it, and afterwards they are offered the fika, the provided drinks and coffee and actually wine.
All right.
There could be more people attending, but I understand on a nice Saturday there are so many young ones doing sports and taking part in other activities.
Yeah. Well, so then you have some collaboration, or you at least know other people. But as I understand it, the plogging by itself, it's more of a individual thing. It's something that you can do every time you go out. It's not something that necessarily needs to be organized for a specific day. It's something that you can take on as part of your daily routine, if you may. Just going out, taking a walk, and bringing a bag and doing it as an individual. I guess that is the idea of the plogging by itself, that anybody can do it any time.
It is. There's so many different individuals. There are so many persons doing it by themselves. So if you look at Instagram, for example, it's a minority group compared to women or men presenting their muscles and their makeup. But if you join the activity and accept other groups, you realize there are many groups that try to activate school kids.
Exactly.
And try to go plogging in groups as well as individuals.
Yeah. That sounds like an amazing idea, and I'm kind of overwhelmed by it. I really like the idea. Have you faced any challenges or any kind of resistance, or people, just in general, some challenges? And if so, have you found a way to overcome them?
Not at all. Not at all. So far, the comments have always been positive, and thank you. So I have not activated school kids. I have not presented the idea to school classes, which I would like to do in the future, just to present the idea. Here in the French-speaking part of Switzerland, what I could do is to present myself as an English-speaking Swede and have 30 minutes to talk to the kids and answer questions. That will be a plan for the future, and I guess it will be easier when spring and summer comes along. It's a little bit cold to be outside now, and get out in summer, and it's more agreeable. I could present the idea at the school, and maybe later on. I have contact with some local teachers here. So I haven't presented the idea yet. So far, it's just in my head. But I will do it sometime, for sure.
Yeah. It sounds like a very good plan to have, and so you are thinking of motivating others. That is part of your ambassador objective to do. Also, get more people to do this.
Indeed, if not activate them, but make them realize if they see a piece of plastic 2 meters away from a garbage bag or an ashtray, put used a cigarette butt in the ashtray instead of just throwing it on the railway.
Yes. Now, yes, mentioning the ashtrays, that is also something that I've seen that you have a brilliant idea for this. Please tell me something about that.
That was an idea that came to me as I walked around picking up garbage, and it's dangerous. It is really dangerous when you start observing the amount of cigarette butts on the ground. I saw those cigarette butts installed in town, that were used by some individuals, but mostly if you stand at the railway station waiting for the train, take 10 seconds and be careful not to go too close to the rails. Look down to the rails and realize the amount of cigarette butts being thrown away. So what I'm trying to do, and doing with the permission from the town where I live, I have the permission to install 15 homemade ashtrays, which I have made out of, how do you say that in English?
Tin cans, maybe, or
tin cans. The proper size. I take 2 of them and I scotch around those tin cans a tape that has the image of a cigarette butt. All that to make it more visual and inspire the smokers to make that effort of walking 2-3 meters to throw the cigarette butt there instead of just throwing it away on the ground. I also have 2 glass jars where at the same time I put clean water and the same amount of water with 1 cigarette butt in it, just to keep it over the years and compare the color. What I would like to do as well, without paying too much, is to make a company examine the quality of the water, just to present more understandable the effect of 1 cigarette butt in a piece of water.
Wow. So we're calling out any company who will have the ability to do this and do this examination. Please. So right now we're asking for either a company that can do it or maybe some kind of funding to fund the project of actually looking into this water. So step forward if you have any thoughts around that, please. Yes. So I guess then the plogging by itself, it must have influenced your perspective of environments in general overall.
It has. It's sometimes I think watching the news and what's happening in the world at the moment, it's not much more than a fart in space. But then again, I thought if we all fart a little bit.
Yes.
So,
True. I mean, we have this with the cows farting. Just one cow doesn't really make a difference, but when you add them all up, it actually comes into environmental. So yes. I understand if we all do it, or many people do it, there will actually be a noticeable change, hopefully, and also maybe the awareness of not throwing it. That I think that would be the ultimate result of this. Actually, getting out of things to do as a plogger. The ideal would be making it not necessary, of course. So.
Absolutely, that's the whole idea. But then I will be out of activity. I will have to find something else to do.
So keep throwing it for now, at least, so you have something to do. Yeah, I understand. But I mean, that would be the in the best of worlds, if we actually could take that extra effort to just walk those 3 or 5 feet to throw the cigarette bun in these cans.
Indeed,
Yeah.
and normal garbage as well, because it is a bit astonishing. A piece of garbage or bottle of something to drink is actually heavier when you buy it. It's much lighter when you have drunk the liquid, so it would be easier to carry around to the next garbage bin.
Yes. And reuse and all these things too. I mean, that whole idea of the cigarette bun ashtrays, using what you find and making a secondary purpose for that item is also a way of being aware of that things can be used more than once, even though their first intention is just to use it as a container or something. But there are usually many workways. Do you have any future plans or projects that goes in line with this, what should I say, call it an activism, environmental activism, plogging?
As I mentioned before, is take contact with a teacher in a local school here and ask them if they would accept me presenting the idea for the kids then in English, and maybe later on even to bring them outside and try to realize that it doesn't take much. It just needs to change the habit. If you see a piece of plastic 5 meters away from a garbage bin, don't hesitate. Even if it's not your garbage, it's a bit philosophical. It's not my garbage, but it's my planet. It will not jump into the garbage bin. It will not be recycled by itself.
True. It's a brilliant plan. It's really a brilliant plan. What would you like to add to this? The whole thing, the whole concept of it. If you have any words you would like to share before I come with this last thing of sharing a word. We have this kind of leave over of a word from each episode, but I would like for you to kind of conclude this idea.
It's a phrase introduced by Erik Ahlström that stuck in my head. In English, it would translate to, "No one can do it all, but we all can do it."
That's lovely. So if I go to the tradition of this podcast, usually the former guest, he leaves me a word that I will give to you, and you will reflect on that word. But before I do, I would like to have a word from you for my next guest, because if I don't want you to be biased to the word that I'm giving you, so I want it to come just completely from a random place.
Yeah. For your next guest is just a question: what do you do for others that gives you absolutely nothing but makes you feel good?
Others, no gain, feel good. All right, I got it written down here, and that is a lovely thought, and I will pass it on. Now, my last guest, he gave me just one single word, and it was together.
That works. You can use it as you wish. Sometimes we are too much together. I can imagine, or actually I cannot, how it is to live in a big town like New York or somewhere in Eastern Asia, where you will have people all around you all the time. That is one interpretation of together. Yes. On the other hand, it will be or would be much easier to solve a problem you have if you take the help of someone else. So try to solve something together.
It's a very good reflection. It's a very good reflection. So by this, I'm very, very happy and very grateful that you took the time for this. I think it's an absolutely amazing concept, and I will definitely try it out myself, since I do everyday walks for some 5 or 6 kilometers every day, and I will definitely bring a bag with me if I don't find one, and I will just try to get aware of how much that I can actually collect during one of these walks, and I would probably be surprised, just like you probably were when you started off as well.
Be careful though. There will probably be a time where it's difficult to leave a piece of garbage when you are in a hurry. But it'll come. You can leave garbage, and it will most probably be there the next day as well.
All right, that's lovely. So again, thank you so very much, Peo. I really appreciate this moment you took out of your life for me and everybody else listening to this podcast. Thank you.
With pleasure, Peter.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.